Did you know that 67% of the visitors on your website are going to abandon your form forever if they encounter any kinds of issues? Think of how much money you're leaving on the table, especially if you're using that form for lead generation. Hi, I'm Dan Lehman from AutomationHelpers.com, and we're partners of Fillout. We've loved using Fillout with our clients because of how easy it is to use and how well it integrates to a lot of the different various business applications out there. But Fillout's doubling down right now on improving the lead capture process in a series of new features called Conversion Kit. We're going to focus on three key features. One is on making the process easier on your end users and enriching information, making it easier for them to submit the forms. The second feature is making sure that our sales team is able to follow up with the leads by handling the right routing logic. And the third is making sure that we can recover information about lost leads in case they didn't finish our form in the first place. So how do we go about taking a standard form like this and make it easier for our end users? The most important field that we have here is the email address, and that's because this serves as a unique identifier for people who are contacting us. So we're going to put that email address up at the top, and if we click on our settings down here and we scroll down, we can see that there's an area for enrichment with Conversion Kit tagged next to it. And there's a few different settings. So one is that we can disallow free email accounts. This is huge because how many tire kickers do you have who are trying to just get free information from you and they're using Gmail and Hotmail email addresses? Now, instead of writing complicated parsing logic to see if an email's from a certain domain, Fillout handles this for you automatically. Now that setting can be simply toggled on or off depending on if you want to allow those free email domains. The next setting is around validating the email address itself. This is different because when someone puts in an email address, this is actually pinging a third-party service to validate and see if that specific email account is actually real. So if you have people trying to give you fake emails, even if the domain itself is real, it's going to recognize that in fact, this email account is not real. Again, this is going to be hugely powerful if you can eliminate fake email addresses and tire kickers with free email accounts. But here's where we start to get really fancy. This option down here is to enrich with Clearbit. Clearbit is a third-party data enrichment provider, and this is integrated automatically with Fillout. You don't have to pay on top of what you're paying Fillout's Conversion Kit. So within the Conversion Kit pricing, that's already encompassing for Clearbit, and you don't have to pay additional. We can click to edit our enrichment settings here. And the first thing that you'll notice is that we have these fields that we can map. And so on the left-hand side, these are the different fields that we have available to us within Clearbit. So you might notice some other fields that you don't already have on your form that perhaps you're interested in capturing that information. But as you can see, there's information both about the leads, the people themselves, information about their job title, and information about the company as well. And this is helpful because we might want to segment information about the companies based on things like company revenue or the number of employees at the company. And so we can tell it which of those Clearbit fields are going to map with the existing fields that we have on our form. So we've got a couple different options here. One is that it's going to autofill the responses. So when we put in that email address, it's going to come back with information and automatically populate those fields. It feels like magic. Alternatively, we could shorten the form, which would mean that we're going to actually slim down those responses. We don't need to capture this information unless Clearbit is unable to gather that information. Then it's going to elongate the form again so that we can fill out those responses manually. My personal preference is typically on the autofill because people might want to correct some of the information that comes back from Clearbit. So let's go ahead and test this out with our fearless leader at Microsoft. We'll put in this email address. We see we get that green check mark right away, so it's validated it. We've got first name, last name, company, company size, and all that's left for us at this point is to enter an address. Now, this is actually another feature of Conversion Kit. If we click on the address field here, you can see that we can turn on address autocomplete. And instead of using Clearbit, this is using Google Maps Autocomplete API to be able to pull information back to make this easier for our end users. So let's test this out. Let's start searching for One Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington. We click on that, and that fills in all of our information. Again, simplifying the number of steps for our user to fill out the form. Now, I hope you can see just how powerful that is to simplify the user experience, to make it so much easier for people to be able to submit our forms. Now let's see what we can do on the back-end side when it comes to routing. Now, one of the fields that you notice that we have is company size. So let's say we don't like to work with companies that are under 10 people. We only want to work with companies that are over 10 employees. Well, on my next button here, instead of just going to the next page here, we can actually create our own page logic. I'm going to click to edit our page logic. So what we've done here is we've added a condition. We say, hey, if the company size, and that's pulling from our intro page, and we're looking at the company size, and we're saying if it's greater than 9 people, then we're going to take them to a scheduling page. And if not, so this is our default path, if it's not over 9 people, maybe they only have 1 employee or 5 employees, then we're just going to take them to the ending of the form. And maybe we say, hey, thanks for filling this information out. We'll get back to you, and we can email them, but we don't want to automatically give them access to our calendar. But for those companies with over 10 people, and again, we could have different criteria. We could have multiple sets of criteria. We could say, let's take them directly to our Calendly page because we want to reduce the amount of friction. We don't want to have them contact us via form. Maybe we get back to them in a few hours and then we're checking out times and we send them our Calendly link. Instead, we can embed that directly within the form. So we're doing this with Calendly, but you could use Chili Piper and there's other integrations available as well. So now if we were to click the next button of our form, because the company size of Microsoft is a little bit larger than 10 employees, now they're going to automatically be prompted to book an appointment with us via our Calendly link. Now, no matter how great of a user experience we've made our form and we've made it easy to be able to get a hold of us, at the end of the day, there's still going to be form abandonment. Let's go ahead and click on our settings, and you'll notice that there's this area for Conversion Kit at the bottom. If we click on those settings, we've got a few different options here. So one is that we can actually see the information, the partial submissions from our forms. So we could click on that. And even though I didn't actually finish submitting the form from Microsoft, we can already see the information that they've captured here. And we can choose to turn on notifications about this as well. So one is that we could have it send an email to the person filling out the form. Now, this really depends on your kind of sales process. Some people might find this annoying. For many sales processes, though, this is helpful. Maybe you asked for some complicated information and it took them a while to go back, and then they forgot what they were doing and they didn't come back to the form. So you could gently nudge them. You could say, hey, in an hour, we're going to send them an email to remind them to fill out that form, and we can customize that email how we want so we can use our own language. We also have the option to notify our own team internally. So maybe we want to have someone from the sales team manually follow up. They're going to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, we noticed you were on the website, and strike up a conversation. So you can do this both externally to the person who's filling out the form, as well as internally to your team. Now, if you're serious about digital marketing, probably you're tracking your campaign's conversion data. And so you can see there's a tab here for Google Ads, as well as in the future, there's going to be some additional features for optimizing your ad campaign and tracking that conversion information. If you're serious about converting your leads, you're going to want to give Fillout's Conversion Kit a try by signing up with the link in the description below.